Hello, Tado Zelp here, and today we're gonna have a chillax session talking about this secondary weapon that I'm holding, the Cycron. So this weapon is fairly new, but it's been out long enough for most YouTubers to have already covered it. But the fact that I'm doing it right now in one of my videos, you know that there's something interesting that I'm about to share because I don't like to make repeating contents for you guys. So to be exact, there is about 4 interesting ways that I'd like to share with you on how to use this weapon. Of course, there is bound to be more other ways, maybe even better ways, which I'll leave it up to you to figure it out, and also tell me at the comments. And also tell me if the technique that I'm about to share with you is helpful, or if you would even consider trying it out. Okay? Now, before I start, I feel like I have to just go through a little bit on the basics of this weapon. So let's just take a look at the stats. The accuracy is it's perfect. Okay, the critical is bad. The fire rate is bad considering that the magazine size is only 20. So at 5 per second, it's gonna run out of juice like in 4 seconds. So okay, it's not a silent weapon. It has a reload of 5 seconds. Now this is probably one of the reasons why this weapon got a lot of hate. It's because of the reload speed being too long. Oh, by the way, before I continue, I just want to tell you that this video is going to be recorded, not scripted. So sorry if I make any mistakes or if this is any draggy stuff, and just sorry. Okay, so the status is really good at 30%, and also it does primarily 60 heat damage. There are also things that is not stated here, which I'm gonna just tell you verbally. Like for example, it has a short fire range. It has innate punch through of 2 meters, if I remember correctly. It always procs heat. No matter how you mod it, it's going to proc heat, and depending on what you mod it with, it's going to proc something else as well if it procs. And then of course, it has unlimited ammo, and it reloads by itself after a certain amount of time, okay, which is this 5 seconds. In fact, I think it's slightly more than 5 seconds because there's also a delay for it to recharge once it starts reloading. So yeah. Okay, so let me tell you about my first build. Now the first build is fairly easy. It's a gas build. And you know the thing about gas, I've talked about this before. If you want your gas to do high damage, what you need is to increase the toxin damage. So here we have the 2 toxin mods. We have multi-shot, which also benefits in increasing the toxin damage. You have the Hornet Strike, which also increases the toxin damage. We have the Expel Grenier, because we're going to test it on Greniers, and this is also going to increase the toxin damage. And then we have some fire rate, because for a beam weapon, by increasing fire rate, it actually increases the damage per tick. Okay, and likewise, I mean, if you were to put it the other way around, if you were to remove the fire rate, making it negative or having negative fire rate mods, it's gonna reduce the damage per tick. Okay, the tick timing is still going to be the same. So this sort of increases the toxin damage per tick, but then it sort of comes down to the same thing if it takes you a shorter time to complete your clip. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say here, but anyway, let's just take a look at this build and how it performs. I'm going to try with something simple first. So let's go with a Butcher at level 145. Okay, so it's hiding behind a wall. So there, with about 5 bullets, I don't know what you want to call it, 5 ammunitions, it died. Okay, now to be honest, butchers are really weak. Okay, so I'm gonna try something else, and what I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna match it with certain skills, because I feel like it is unfair to test certain weapons by itself. Okay, if you were to use this weapon by itself, run a whole mission with only this weapon and say that it's bad, I think it's not very accurate, because let's say you're playing a character, okay, and you are a support character. So is it fair for someone to say that you are really bad at soloing a dungeon knowing that you are a support character? No, right? Because a support character works well in a group with others. Okay, so this is what I kind of feel about this weapon. It is not a solo weapon. It is a weapon that works well with other things. So in this case, I'm going to show you me fighting against 8 heavy gunners at level 145. Now this is going to be hard. I don't even know if I can pull this off the first time, because I might just die. Okay. So the idea here is that this weapon, the Cycron, is going to do, because it has innate punch through, it's going to do heat procs on all of them, and hopefully keep me alive, right? So there it is. And then I'm going to do an avalanche with high power. Is going to strip them off all of their armor, and then because it also freezes time, it's going to keep the DOT damage going, and until eventually they all die. Now the reason why that method is unique to this weapon is because most weapons just can't do it. If you compare it with the Quanta, which is a primary weapon, it doesn't have enough status effect or have any innate punch through to pull it off. If you compare it with the Atomus, which most people do, although the Atomus can hit more than one enemy, it has a limit up to only 4, and we were dealing with 8. And on top of that, the status proc is also not as high. And don't forget something really important, which is survival. Okay, this weapon does 100% heat proc on every single enemy it touches, and it's because of that I survived. If you were to use anything that have even a slightest chance of doing something else instead of heat, you might end up dying. Okay, now knowing that it always does heat proc, it also could do other procs as well. Like for example, we modded for gas, so at any given instant it could actually do 2 procs at a time, and where else most weapons can only do 1 at a time. So they will be competing, and this won't. Something to kind of take note is that gas does a lot of damage. In fact, among all the DOTs, gas is probably the highest. The only problem here is that gas is affected by armor and the damage reduction that comes with it. So if you could find a way to remove that armor, it's going to do more damage than things like bleed. Okay, now over here I have a mag. Mag's second skill and beam weapons equals destruction, and you guys know this because I made a video of it before. Now over here I'm gonna do same thing, 8 heavy gunners, all level 145, and we're gonna see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna strip off their armor. There you go, and I'm gonna beam it in. And that's it. So the second method and the second build that I'm going to show you, please ignore that's it, is my configuration B. Okay, so over here you can see that I have all of the 4 dual stat mods, and then I have some reload speed, some magazine size, and also status duration. Okay, obviously I'm not trying to do the highest damage here. Instead, I'm trying to proc as many status on the enemy. So you guys probably guessed that this is a condition overload build. Now, for you to have a support to do more status effect on the enemy so that you could pull off a condition overload is actually a really good idea on your secondary weapon, even on your primary weapon as well. Okay, simply because you do not have to hoist over your melee weapon in order to use it. You can use it immediately after you see the significant amount of status effect has already been done. So this is actually a very good way of playing. Now, for this weapon, the heat proc is definite, is 100%, so that is a given. Then there is also the magnetic here, so that is 2 already. And gas, we have talked about this before. Gas actually has the gas icon and also the toxin icon, and they both work separately. So in other words, just by using this weapon, you're gonna get 4 procs on the enemy, which is a lot. And then for your melee weapon, I'm actually going for this, which to some may be an average or even a below average weapon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to proc blast here and corrosive. So corrosive to reduce the armor, of course, and blast is basically to, you know, make him fall down if I'm lucky, and also to keep me alive. And if it's fall down, maybe I could pull off a ground finisher. Now I'm not aiming for a stealth finisher, not like the one that we talked about before. So this is more of a upfront thing because we're going to test damage in this kind of sense. The good thing about the Shaku is that it has a pretty high status chance at 25%. So with 4 dual stat mods, it's gonna get up to 85%, and that's pretty good. Now I don't even have enough capacity for my prime pressure point or prime fury, so I'm just gonna leave that out because there's no way I'm going to format this weapon because I hardly use it. But I'm just gonna show you how it performs with this build. So just for reference, I'm going to summon 1 heavy gunner at level 145, and we are going to just use my melee weapon and try to attack. Holy shit, Jesus, sorry about that. So yeah, I put on some survivability mods this time, and hopefully I'll survive. Okay, so let's test out the melee weapon. I'm not going to use my secondary weapon for comparison's sake. And let's see how long it takes to kill this. Oh yeah, ground finisher. Now the corrosive is really eating in quite fast considering my oh yeah, my status chance is pretty high. Okay, so now we're gonna do that again, but this time we're gonna include my secondary weapon. So the good thing about this is that it's gonna gain some safety since I'm gonna shoot him from afar, and we're gonna gain some okay, anyway, we're there and it's dead. Okay, now you can actually further increase the damage by using something like the Texon. Now remember, Texon has the Artex actually has the ability to cause freeze like super frequently. And the way I modded it is with radiation and viral. So notice that no one element actually come in conflict with another. So let's see what happens now. So it's gonna do cold, radiation, and viral on my Sentinel. Do you see that stack? Oh my god. Okay, so that is the condition overload build. So let's see what I have for you in the third build. So this part is a little bit more of a discussion than a build kind of thing. So it has something to do with the Ferox and also the Javlok. And before we go into that, I'd just like to talk about, you know, first-person shooter games where you have your primary weapon and your secondary weapon. Now in most games, the primary weapon is the one that does the most damage, hence the word primary. And the secondary weapon is the one that you have to go to if your primary weapon is in trouble or it doesn't work, or I don't know, it ran out of ammunition when you're reloading and you have to fire at the enemy which is right in front of you, so you could switch to your secondary. So that is the general idea of a secondary weapon. Now I actually have this discussion with some of my buddies at Discord, and most of them kind of agrees with me. So, but in Warframe it's different. Okay, in Warframe, because of the hoistering speed that it has, which is kind of slow, there you go, this whole animation. Okay, because of that, it is not effective to kind of change weapon and then start firing again. Instead, in most cases, the time taken for you to change your weapon is probably equal or really close to the amount of time taken for you to reload. Okay, so in Warframe, when people play with secondary weapon, they're basically using it as a primary weapon. And yeah, and that's what's been going on. And I guess maybe with the Cycron being a little bit kind of weird and not behaving like a primary weapon, and that is getting a lot of complaints, I guess. So okay, correct me if I'm wrong, tell me what you think at the comment section. It's okay, I'm pretty open with whatever you have in mind. Yeah, so what I'm going to show you here is like how would a person kind of play in the first person shooter kind of situation with the Ferox and also the Javlok. The reason why is because in this case you do not actually need to involve any hoistering. Okay, so let's say you're a big fan of the Ferox, which I know a lot of people are, and also the Javlok. So you are shooting at enemies, okay, and occasionally you throw your weapon. Holy shit, it went off the floor. Okay, anyway, occasionally you throw your weapon, immediately it will pick up your secondary weapon. Okay, and that is the part where you fight and you basically shoot your way. Wait, let me just throw it over here. Okay, so basically shoot your way to your primary weapon, which you most likely want to pick up. Now immediately when you pick up, it is being hoisted back into your primary. Alright, and the moment this happens, your secondary weapon is being cooled down, as in that whole 5-second thing. Yeah, it started counting down. So by the time you throw it again, oh shit, I did it again. Most likely your secondary weapon is going to be fully reloaded as well. So again, there is no hoisting around involved, and also there's no reloading involved, because if you were to use a different secondary weapon, the moment you were to throw this and what the hell is going on? So the moment you throw that and then you start shooting with your secondary weapon, you're gonna have to reload that. Otherwise, the moment you pick up your Ferox or whatever, it's still going to be in low ammunition. So this is actually a good weapon, as in the secondary weapon, the Cycron is actually a good weapon to sync with things like the Ferox and also the Javlok. So for this part is more of a pure CC kind of situation, kind of build. So you're gonna go with something like this, especially for synthesizing, if you're doing synthesized quests. So this is actually gonna help a lot. So when the target is running away or what, you could actually use this gun to stop it. So instead of spending on the what do you call it again, kinetic siphon traps, you can actually use this gun to stop him and make him fall down and stuff, while your allies or your friends take pictures of him. So this is really useful. Sadly, it doesn't work on capturing targets, but then if your capturing target were to go invisible, there will be a trail of flame and you will know where he's heading. Definitely go in with the first build, the one with the gas, and you're gonna see it melt them like crazy. So yeah, definitely try that. And then you can also mod it a little bit differently by having a little bit higher priority on the blast. Okay, and the good thing about having blast is that if the enemy were to fall because of the blast, the time between them falling and getting up, you can actually stop when they fall and just wait until they get up, because your cooldown now, the reloading cooldown, is at 2.7, and it's actually sufficient for you to get a full ammunition recovery before they could actually attack you. So that is really good as well. And also going with a higher blast proc, you can also do things like an AoE CC sort of. So let's just take a look. So let's have 8. And what you want to do is you're gonna need some ways to gather them, and then basically not allowing them to stand up by proccing blast to make them keep falling down. Now there is tons of weapons that I know that could actually do this, so nothing super amazing here to me, or I guess. So as an added bonus, let's look at Ember. Now since the Cycron is a fire weapon, we can see with the Ember's accelerant how much damage we could increase on this fiery weapon. Now the way I modded it is that I have viral. I really try to boost up its base damage, and then I have scorch and heat charge, because the accelerant, especially with the mod, is gonna increase the damage of this particular heat damage. Okay, so things like, again, Hornet Strike, multi-shot, it's gonna do, it's also going to increase that heat damage. And I also have Flash Accelerant, which is thing that's gonna give an extra 50%, and I believe that 50% is also going to be increased by power strength as well. So I'm running in a really high power strength here. I can hear my voice kind of cracking up right now. So let's see how this works. I'm gonna go with an Ancient Healer because the Heavy Gunner, the armor is too high at level 145, and it's not gonna be impressive. It's not gonna show the significant damage, so I'm gonna go with an Ancient Healer. And the Butcher just kind of dies too fast, so this is kind of moderate at the right place. So I need to dodge the first hit though. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, I think I got some hit shots there, and yeah, slightly more than half. But this is with the viral, so okay. So yeah, it actually is a little bit, it's not a lot. So I'm going to try this again, but this time I'm going to use the accelerant. Now remember, just now was a full clip, okay, 20 ammunition. Now I'm going to try with accelerant, and I'm going to be careful with this. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 5. Yeah, and that should do it. It's dying. 5. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do it again because I swear I did a lot better shot, because it's just so strong. Okay, see, 2 clips, as in 2 ammo, and it's dead. So you can only imagine how many I could take out with a full clip. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that there is something here that kind of makes this weapon a little bit better. But I also heard one of my Discord mates that told me there might be a buff coming for the Cycron, so that is definitely something to look forward to. I believe that the mechanics of the Cycron is not going to change that much. They're probably going to increase the damage or reduce the cooldown on reload speed or something like that. So most of the things that you see here is most likely still going to be workable, and it might even be better. So yeah. So anyway guys, have a pleasant day. I'll see you again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.